time for the Pulse News with Antonio, Julio, and Anthony reporting.
The top story of the day is R selection versus K selection and how animals have the ability to adapt to the environment. Before we begin, don't forget the pulse is always pulsing.
Now, let's check in with Antonio to bring our lead story.
Thank you, Julio and Anthony, for the warm welcome. There has been a lot of decrease in the lion population, according to Duncan Butchert. Duncan Butchert is a naturalist writer that spends the time writing books and articles about the African environment. He is currently studying the lion carrying capacity. Lions are a perfect example of what the characteristics of K selection is all about. The environment plays a great part in keeping these kinds of animals alive, because they live off of other animals that fall in the K selection category too. Even though they can live longer, there are other species that can reproduce in unbelievable numbers, but don't live that long. These species of animals are called rodents, like rats or rabbits, because they resemble the characteristics of insects like cockroaches. They fall in a different category called the R selection. Duncan also has the same belief as Charles Darwin, which is famous for his theory of natural selection. Surviving in the environment will slowly change the species of an animal over time and making it more dominant to survive in its environment. A strong concept to grasp, but if you still have more questions, why don't you ask the man who knows about it, the lion expert, Duncan Butchert.
How is the lion population going to affect Africa's environment?
Well, you see, if the population continues to decline, it's going to have drastic effects on the rest of the food chain, as they're an apex predator. What an apex predator means is that it's an animal who's at the top of the food chain and has little to worry about as far as it being hunted. But you see, if it can't hunt the species it hunts, they won't be able to hunt the species they hunt. It'll go right down to the grass, and those little buggers who are supposed to eat the grass aren't going to be able to anymore, and eventually there's going to be an overabundance of one species or another, and it's going to throw the whole ecosystem off balance. And wonderful stories like our wonderful Lion King memories from childhood won't be true anymore, because we all know that was based on fact.
Will the carrying capacity for lions change if more prey and food become available to them? If yes, will it be a good thing?
Crikey, I was a bit distracted. Those lions are a bit feisty back there. I had to pay attention, make sure I didn't get my head ripped off. But, the carrying capacity, yes, that's a question that's quite complex, actually. When you think about the food chain, it's laced with all sorts of herbivores and carnivores, and you got to really make sure, if you're going to reintroduce some species, you reintroduce the right ones in the right numbers, because if the ratio is off whatsoever, then the food chain's delicate balance is going to be thrown off, and it's going to be very impossible to recover from. So it's all very dependent on whether you get the number of species reintroduced right. I mean, it's the same question that people wonder when you should we reintroduce the woolly mammoth back into Yellowstone Park? Should we reintroduce some wolves back into the park, or is it just going to throw that balance off?
Thank you, Mr. Butchert, for your time. Have a nice day.
It was my pleasure, but if you don't mind, it's Pichard. Say it with me.
Butchert?
Pichard!
Butchert?
Pichard!
Butchert?
Pichard!
Butchert?
Pichard!
Butchert?
Thank you.
I believe that lions are the exact definition of K selection. The survivorship curve determines the number of animals that would survive in each species and how long they survive. Lions fall in the type 1 category because they live long and don't reproduce rapidly. But what else do they spend their time on doing?
Mating. It's beneficial for a lion to have sex with his mating partner. The female does not ovulate until she is stimulated to do so by lots of sex. As a result, lions mate roughly every 15 to 20 minutes for 2 or 3 days. 200 to 300 times in one session. During that period of time, they are inspirable. They will not hunt or eat. That, more you know.
And this ends our amazing adventure of what the difference between R selection and K selection are.
Tune in next time when we headlock a grizzly bear via Facebook. I'm Antonio.
I'm Julio.
And don't forget, the
pulse
pulse
is
always pulsing.
Your turn. Oh, my turn.
Oh.
Our turn.
Okay, go.
Oh.
Alright, ready?